are, all of those steps have steps that have been unilateral. So for us and for our fans and for our teams, we have pushed hard to first get a proposal, and now we're continuing to push hard to understand a justification for a rollback in player share that would put us back around 1992 or 1993. It's that serious.
Yeah, Mike Kliss of the Denver Post. Kevin, you said that they were asking for an 18%, asking you guys to take an 18% pay cut. Could you elaborate on that? What 18% of what? Where?
The 18% that they've asked. Do I need to unlock?
Yeah, hold on.
Where? Hello? Yeah, the 18% is simple. It's 18% of the player's share that we're getting. So where we are now at the 59 and some change of total football revenue, they're asking us to take 18% off that and give it back to management. Not to include the $1 billion that they already get back prior to the calculation of total football revenue, which is about $1 billion.
41%?
It would go down to about 41%.
Yes.
So everybody should know, total revenue is not all revenue. Total revenue, the 60% of total revenue that has been the player's share, is all revenue minus $1 billion off the top that goes directly to management. After you take that $1 billion write-off at the top, players get 60% of that remaining amount. So why should we be talking about total revenue when you hear total revenue and you think it's all? When you look at all revenue, players last year got about 52% of all revenue. 52%. As a matter of fact, that is a smaller share of all revenue than players had in 2001.
Why doesn't that $1 billion include, how do they take off the $1 billion?
That is a $1 billion gift that we give the owners for stadium renovations, stadium upkeep, G3 program, all of the things that players agreed to give for cost considerations to generate revenue. So now, on top of that $1 billion in total revenue that is taken off the top, they want to add another $1 billion. And my question is, why?
Carl?
Dee and Kevin, both of you, how confident are you that given the chance that a lockout happens, that your players are going to be responsible enough with their finances and have the wherewithal to survive some sort of protracted negotiation?
Yeah, I can tell you that we've stepped up our efforts in educating our players on the issues. They understand the possibility of there being a lockout, which means no salaries, reduced benefits, and such. We can't make all 1,900 players save their money, but we can educate them and tell them that you need to start saving your money. Over the last year and going into next season, we've encouraged every one of our players to save 25% of their salary. So in the event of a lockout, we'll be able to get through that. We've increased our union dues this year and for the coming season so that those dues will be rebated back to them in the event of the lockout. So they'll have some sort of an income on top of their additional savings that they'll get. And we are looking at other possibilities to help our players out.
Do you feel like there's voters are counting on the idea that maybe you guys can't survive that?
If I had to look back on the history of past labor issues, they counted on players crossing the line. And there's a difference. We're going to be there ready to go to work. There's no line to cross because they've chained the gates shut. There's a difference between a strike and a lockout. And the 87 strike and the 72 strike and the 74 strike, all those strikes included owners paying high-dollar players to cross the line and come play ball. And then we had scab ball. And the difference is when they lock the gates, they don't just lock the gates on the $225,000 a year rookie. They lock the gates on a $100 million Peyton Manning also. So that's the difference.
It's Sam Farmer of the LA Times. The TV contracts were extended by 2 years in a fashion that the NFL typically hasn't done, and they did them very quickly. Did you feel that that would be strike insurance? Is that an indicator to you that
It's not strike insurance, it's lockout
insurance?
Yeah.
Is that an indicator to you? And also, if you could detail the players' participation in stadiums, and what's an equitable system for
Sure.
the G3 loan, et cetera?
Sure. Well, the question is whether or not there is any way, I'll rephrase it, of course, in a way that's purely beneficial to me. The question is whether there is any other way of interpreting the new television contracts as anything but lockout insurance. The answer is no. I mean, when you put in for the first time a guarantee that there will be almost $5 billion to not play football, what else can you consider it to be? With respect to the players' participation in stadium bills, the G3 program that Gene and Paul Tagliabue negotiated was just that. Players being partners in the generation of revenue. And let's be clear, I'm an unabashed, unashamed pro-capitalist. I actually dig it. So the idea that our players can be involved in making this game grow, and our players are being involved in helping these stadiums come online, is not something new, it's something old. It's something we have always done, and it's something that we want to continue to do. So for those cost credits that they want to expend in order to grow and build revenue, we're 100% for it. What we're not in 100% support of is, how do you justify at the height of this game a rollback to 41% where nobody in this room knows how much does a team make? The one team that we do have, the Green Bay Packers, we have their audited financial statements, and a couple of facts. One of the smallest markets in America, with no Brett Favre, and with a losing season, their take-home profit was $20 million. So we know that small market teams can be profitable. If there is something to do to change this deal because teams are not profitable, tell us. Tell Kevin why. If there is something out there that shows that these teams' profit margins are off by even 1%, tell D. Smith and we'll tell the players of the National Football League. But I'm still waiting for that answer.
Mark Maskey from the Washington Post.
Can you talk into the mic, please? Thanks.
Yes, Mark.
Damaris,
Yeah.
given your
Damaris, it's very formal.
given your stated expectation that you expect a lockout in 2011, how much consideration will you give to decertifying the union? And as an antitrust issue, how much is that decision dependent on the final outcome of the American Needle case?
A tremendous part of that decision turns on the outcome of the American Needle case. When the National Football League argued to the Supreme Court that they were no longer subject to the antitrust laws, it instantly made that case probably the most important sports case in the history of American sports. So to answer your question about the decertification, I have to wait until the justices rule. But look, our history is one where the only reason these players, some of these players played without free agency, the only reason these players had free agency is guys named Freeman McNeil and guys named Reggie White. Why? Because they sued the National Football League for violating the antitrust statutes. And now we have a case pending in the United States Supreme Court where the National Football League has argued, we don't even want those laws to apply to us. Well, do I understand what the true game is? Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm Alan Schwartz from the New York Times. Dee, you mentioned that you're calling for the owners to give back 2% of their 31, or at least estimated 31 million profits, according to Forbes, to retired players. Is that correct?
It's not give back, it's give.
Okay, give. Now, the players make profits as well.
Absolutely.
Beyond the standard of, the cost of living. Will the players similarly be giving 2% of their profits to the same cause?
We've done, look, out of that 50%, out of the player's share, we already give money to the retired players. So what I'm saying is, if you looked at the balance sheet as being two sheets, all I'm saying is while the players already give that amount to retired players out of their share of all revenue, why shouldn't there be a share of profits out of these teams? When we know that 500% increase in team values over the last 15 years, once again, they sell legacy, they don't pay for legacy.
D. Ian Rappaport, Boston Herald.
Yeah, sorry.
It seems that some of the more high-profile players are getting involved now. Tom Brady is one as a player rep. What tangible effect can that have on all this going forward?
You know, I don't know. What I've asked our players to do is to be men, to be businessmen in the business of football. I know what they can do on the field.